Welcome to a new deep dive. Today we're getting into a really fascinating interview with Demis Hassabis. He's the head of Google DeepMind, and The Guardian recently profiled him.
Yeah, the article basically calls him one of the most important people alive, driving potentially the biggest tech revolution ever.
Exactly. Now, before we jump in, there's something we should probably clarify about Hassabis and DeepMind's work, particularly AlphaFold. We'll get to that.
Right. Our mission today, though, is to help you make sense of all this. We'll explore Hassabis' vision for AI, this idea of radical abundance, and also the big challenges he sees. We want to take you beyond just the headlines,
Yeah, understand the what's and the why from someone who's, well, building it.
Straight from a key architect.
Okay, so let's get into it. The article paints this picture of Hassabis. Maybe not what you'd expect. He's 49, relatively young for his position, mixed race, state-educated, and his start is really striking. A chess prodigy at 4 years old, playing for England junior teams until he was 13.
Yeah, and that chess background is clearly formative. Hassabis himself says it shaped his strategic thinking, how he deals with pressure.
Right.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, his approach to AI, it seems very methodical, very long-term.
That makes sense.
It's also kind of interesting his family background, described as more arty. His dad wrote a musical play, his sister's a composer. So him going into deep tech was a bit different.
Definitely an outlier there. And here's where it gets really interesting for me. He took his chess winnings and bought early home computers, a Sinclair ZX Spectrum, a Commodore Amiga, learned to code.
Wow.
And by 17, he'd coded Theme Park, the hit game, which apparently actually reacted to how players were interacting with it.
At 17, that level of AI thinking back then.
Exactly. What does that tell you about just his innate grasp of these systems, even way back then?
Well, it says a lot, doesn't it? That early work in game AI, designing systems that learn, that's clearly a foundation, especially when you add his degrees later, computer science and neuroscience. So when he co-founded DeepMind in 2010 with Shane Legg and Mustafa Suleiman, their mission was ambitious, but simple, sort of. Solve intelligence, and then use it to solve everything else.
And they didn't hang about. 2014, they showed off that AI mastering Atari games like Breakout.
Yeah, learning from scratch.
No prior knowledge needed. And then 2016, the big one, beating Lee Sedol at Go.
Oh, absolutely. Go is vastly more complex than chess. That really put them on the map globally.
Huge moment.
And those successes, they were springboards. They led to, well, their really groundbreaking work, especially AlphaFold. Now, just to be crystal clear here.
Okay.
AlphaFold's protein structure prediction is seen by many as this huge scientific breakthrough, right? But it hasn't actually won a Nobel Prize. Just wanted to make that distinction.
Got it. Important clarification.
But yeah, it doesn't take away from the impact. AlphaFold predicted the structures of proteins, the basic building blocks of life, things that were, well, previously unfathomable.
And the scale is just mind-boggling. Over 200 million protein structures solved, and they made it public.
Exactly, which raises that big question about the practical benefits, right? This alone could fuel countless medical advances. Hassabis even talks about, potentially curing cancer or something like that.
Incredible potential.
Yeah.
So DeepMind's doing all this amazing work. But then, 2022, OpenAI drops ChatGPT.
Right. And Hassabis admits it caught big tech, Google included, a bit off guard.
Really?
Yeah, he says labs like theirs had similar tech, but they didn't quite see the amazing use cases the public would find instantly. It was a lesson, he said, about being maybe a bit too close to your own technology.
Interesting perspective.
And that ChatGPT moment, well, it just lit a fire under the whole AI race. DeepMind is now effectively the engine room of Google.
You see it everywhere.
Yeah. AI in search summaries, Gemini assistant, image generators, even smart glasses. It shows how fast AI is weaving into, well, everything we do.
And everyone's jumping in. Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, investing huge amounts, poaching talent. It's high stakes.
Definitely a major competition now.
And the ultimate goal, the sort of holy grail in this race, is AGI, artificial general intelligence.
That's it. Where AI basically matches human thinking.
And Hassabis thinks it's close. He predicts something like 5 to 10 years, possibly the lower end of that.
Which immediately makes you ask, okay, what happens then?
Right.
And Hassabis paints this picture, almost utopian. He calls it radical abundance.
Radical abundance. What does that mean exactly?
Imagine breakthroughs just tumbling out. Medicine, room temperature superconductors, fusion power, even like travel to the stars. The idea is, if we manage it safely,
Yeah.
it should lead to just incredible productivity and therefore prosperity for society.
Mhm.
He suggests it could be the first time history isn't zero-sum, enough for everyone.
Wow. That's a big claim.
Yeah.
But there are downsides, right? Concerns. He acknowledges those.
Oh, absolutely. He's quite open about things like deepfakes, misinformation, and the big one for many people, jobs. Human jobs being replaced.
Yeah, that's probably top of mind for a lot of listeners.
He admits navigating mass unemployment is going to be one of the biggest things we're going to have to figure out.
And what about the energy? These things must use a ton of power, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the climate crisis.
He tackles that. He says, yes, AI systems will need a lot of energy, but the amount we'll get back. Especially, he says, even just narrowly for climate solutions
Okay.
that will far outweigh the energy costs. Basically, the solutions might justify the resources.
An interesting calculation.
He also wonders about, purpose and meaning. If work changes drastically, what do we do? He thinks maybe we'll lean more into things like sports, meditation, the arts, finding value outside of pure utility.
So, despite the risks, he sounds optimistic.
He calls himself a cautious optimist. He talks about human ingenuity, our adaptability, how our brains evolved for hunting and gathering. But here we are.
We managed that transition.
Exactly. And here's a fascinating comparison he makes. He says the AI revolution will be 10 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution.
10 times bigger.
And maybe 10 times faster.
Wow. That's almost hard to comprehend.
Right. And he acknowledges the Industrial Revolution had huge disruptions, major problems. But, he argues, we wouldn't wish it away now.
Good point.
So his view tends to be, yes, there will be massive change. Disruption is inevitable. But if we guide it responsibly, the overall outcome should be positive, hugely positive even.
Okay. So as we kind of wrap this up, Hassabis' vision, AGI, this radical abundance, this cautious optimism.
Yeah.
It leaves you thinking. He has this quote, if you become an expert, kind of a ninja at using these things, it's going to really empower the people that are good at these tools.
Which really poses a final question for you, doesn't it? In a world facing a change potentially 10 times bigger, 10 times faster than the Industrial Revolution, what kind of AI ninja will you need to become? How will you navigate? How will you thrive? In the future, that seems to be approaching very, very quickly.